Hey everybody, Bill Caskey. It's 8 a.m. Eastern, so I'm back live with you today. Some days I have everything put together and the show is kind of laid out show, 15-minute little interlude that we have together. And today I've literally got I've got nothing other than something that happened yesterday that might be helpful to you. Let me close out my little beepers here. Um, Before we start, though, as I always do, I want you to download I'm always trouble finding it. Here it is. 5 reasons you don't have enough clients. You can substitute the word customers for clients if you don't refer to your customers that way. It's a little bit of review of what we did yesterday, which I want to spend a little time on today. But it's 5 really good reasons. There's probably a dozen reasons that I have observed over the years that you're not generating enough new clients, new business. But these are 5 of the biggest ones. And I think if you can solve these 5, and I give you some ideas on how exactly to solve it, I think you'll be way ahead of the game. So 5reasonsclients.com. I mentioned to you last week, and I know that we have listeners and viewers coming and going here, but the site that you will go to download this is if you're going to create some kind of a freebie for your prospects, then follow that model on that page, because we get about a 45 to 50% conversion of everybody that goes to that page. 50% of the people download that. It's a very high number. I don't know where we got that template. We probably just made it up on our own. Maybe we copied somebody and illegally copied. But if you do have a document like this that you want to put out to the market in your world, copy that page. I mean, not the words on the page, but how the page is set up, because it works very well. So 5reasonsclients.com. Today's podcast, I'm going to be doing a podcast today that will be released tomorrow. And if you are not already subscribed, I will put in the comment, one of the comments below, the YouTube podcast app that I think is really powerful, really strong. So if you want to watch it on YouTube, you can, or we'll have the iTunes link up there too. But I'm going to be talking today or tomorrow when it's released about these 5 M's. And I shared these with you yesterday. You can see them here on the screen. It is kind of what we call our master framework. And the idea here is that whenever you are looking to radically improve your business, you have to go back to the guts of the business. You have to go back to the inputs, not the outputs. I know some of you are in businesses where you might close 25% of the deals, let's just say, or 25% of proposals, and you want to get that to 50. Well, your answer is in here. Your answer is somewhere in here. We don't know where it is in there, but the answer is not to sell harder at the end and give discounts and give ultimatums. If you don't buy by Thursday, then you're not going to get the deal. That's not the answer for how do you take your closing percentage and move it up from 25 to 50 or whatever. The answer is in here. And on the podcast, I spent a little bit of time yesterday on these 5 things, but I'm going to go deeper. And underneath each of these 5 elements of the framework are 3, what I consider 3 of the most important sub-elements of that. So I'm going to go through these 15 things. If you're interested, you can go to billcaskey.com/podcast and subscribe. There's a link there, or you can go to YouTube. We're brand new on YouTube now, so you can go there as well. And that's for today. For release tomorrow. So I had a question yesterday from a client who I've been working with now for probably 6 months. I think we started late last year. And the question went something like this. I don't have it exactly, although he did email it to me. The question, the essence of it was, I get frustrated when I meet resistance. So when the customer starts to offer me resistance, you might call them objections. I refer to them as resistance. All my clients refer to them as resistance, because I don't think an objection necessarily is an objection. I think a lot of times people just put up a little resistance. You see it as an objection, and you go to overcome the objection, and it never was an objection. It was just resistance. And so we all have resistance. We all get it. We all have it internally. I mean, that's really probably where it all begins, is internally. But his question was, how do I handle it when it comes up? And so here are 2 things, 2, maybe 3, 2+ things that I told him yesterday. Number 1 is you have to expect it. You have to embrace it, anticipate it. It's coming. very rarely, unless you are doing a splendiferous job in marketing your product, where the person who calls you or sets up an appointment is so sold, they are so in, you're just working out the details. If that's the case, then you're probably not going to meet much resistance. But that's usually not the way it is in most organizations. I think that's the way it should be. That's why we did a whole series on building your marketing funnel here a couple of weeks ago. I'm curious to know if you've done anything with that. If you haven't, you're probably still facing this resistance. I think it'd be better if you didn't face any resistance. I mean, why would you want to face resistance? It's just, I mean, there's no, anyway. So, but if you haven't done your marketing funnel yet, snap to it, get to it. It's going to make a huge difference in your business. So if you haven't done that yet, go back and watch some of these videos and I'll tell you exactly how to do it. So the resistance idea is going to happen if you don't have a good marketing funnel, if your branding is not good, if it's all up to you and you're kind of doing that analog sale where it's all just up to you to present the product, to handle the resistance. You've got to embrace it because it's coming. It's always coming. And there's several points of resistance. There's usually resistance around price. There's resistance around value, which is different than price. And there's resistance around process. And these three things are very easy to understand once you identify which ones they are. So let's say that you're in the sales process and somebody says to you, John, this is a pretty elaborate solution, more so than we've had before, and I'm sure it's a lot more money than what we're paying now. So that's just a statement. It's a statement of, I would call that light resistance. They did not say, I'm not going to buy this from you. They did not say that we're done with our conversation. They did not say, I detest this solution that you've given me or brought me, or there's just light resistance. So what do you do with that? You embrace it. You try to understand it. Where is it coming from? Because resistance doesn't come from nowhere. Resistance comes usually from inside the prospect because of a triggering event on the outside. So maybe you've said something in your sales dialogue or in your conversations. Forget about sales dialogue. Why did I say that? Conversations. Maybe you've said something that's triggered this resistance. You don't know. Maybe you've sold too hard. Maybe you've pushed too hard. Maybe you've applied a little too much pressure and now you're getting resistance. So you have nobody to blame but yourself for most resistance. I believe that. And me too. If I get resistance in a sales process, it's because I've done something wrong or haven't done enough to help avoid that. So the first thing you want to do is just embrace it. Just try to understand it and acknowledge the fact that it's not unusual for people at this point to raise that question, raise that up. So let's hit pause on the rest of the stuff and let's talk about that. That's how you handle resistance. You want to understand it, because at the bottom of it, it probably is nothing. It's a mask for some other kind of resistance. Like, I don't feel like I have the power internally. This is the buyer. I don't feel like I have the power internally to make this all happen. Or you're calling on the wrong person. That could be. So I want to understand it and break it down and not try to overcome it. That's one of the biggest mistakes that amateur salespeople make. And I know you're not an amateur, but I'm going to just be real with you here. Amateurs seek to overwhelm or overcome resistance. It's just wrong, because you're not working on the right problem. 90% of the time, the resistance you're hearing is not the real resistance. It's something else or something deeper. It doesn't mean it's not legit. It just means that when you're working on that, it's like a vote. It's like a politician who's trying to get you to vote for him or her. And if you've grown up as a one party and they're of another party, and your parents and your upbringing was all about allegiance and loyalty to the party, and this person is with a different party, and you are just so loyal that I don't care how much intellectual stuff they give you and how many reasons they give you for voting for them, you're not going to vote for them, because they haven't attacked the real reason, the real issue. The real issue is you're loyal to another party. And until you address that, you can't fill the gap with enough features and benefits of why they should vote for you. Same with sales. If you can't deal with the real issue, then you'll meet up with you'll be at a dead end role. You'll be dead end. Okay. So that's the external resistance. So anticipate it. It's coming. So don't be surprised when it comes. When it comes, try to understand it. Try to understand the source of it, not so you can overwhelm and overcome it, but so you can understand it. Because what will happen probably is it will be different as it's explained to you by the prospect than it was the first time out. And then you can deal with it. And it could be a showstopper. And maybe it is a showstopper. But I'd rather know that now than go through the whole sales process and find out at the very end that, oh, well, I didn't handle that up front. And so now I've just spent another 100 hours on it. You got better things to do with your time than that. The second part could be internal. It could be your internal resistance. You know, I find that we avoid resistance with so much emphasis that we resist the resistance. So whenever you are feeling internally not okay because you're getting resistance, and that is the feeling we have. It's like, well, I've laid out my whole thing here and now they're starting to fight me on price. You get not okay. And when you get not okay, deep down, spiritually, emotionally, psychologically, mentally, whatever, when you get not okay, you react from fear. You're not reacting clear of mind. You're reacting from emotion. And whenever we feel not okay, we have one goal: to get okay. One goal. And you will use the prospect to get okay. And that's not the right way to do it. So a lot of this is internal. So if you are feeling, when you hear resistance, somebody says, hey, your price is way too high. Or are you kidding me? I'm not going to pay you that. I've had people say that. And you know what? They haven't. Most of them haven't paid it. But I would rather know it then, try to get to the bottom of it, and then deal with it than 70 hours later. So when you experience resistance, you go not okay. It's just where you go. It's basic human nature. So what you have to do then is you have to get so okay. And that's one of the things we talk about in all of our programs is, how do you get your mind right, your body right, your heart right, so that none of that stuff bothers you? None of it. It rolls right off your back. You're not even concerned about it. You don't get anxious. You don't get stressed. You deal with it in a very logical and organic way. You are not reacting from emotion at all. You're reacting from just neutralization. But if you're not okay deep down and you get not okay when people give you resistance, you're going to have trouble. I talk about that a little bit today. The podcast, as I said, the Bill Caskey podcast. I'll make sure that, Travis, can you put in the comments below this the links to that, and we'll make sure that you get to that. Comments today? No comments, but if you have any, I'll be answering those a little bit later today. So, how do you handle resistance? Embrace it, understand it, anticipate it. Actually, not in that order. Anticipate it, embrace it, and then understand it. Anticipate, embrace. AEU. Oh, it would be nice if we could find some more vowels there. It's the vowel strategy. All right. So, hope that has helped you today. I end this broadcast with all due respect to all the people who attended or will attend. We get about a dozen or a couple dozen people who attend in the morning, and then by the afternoon, we've seen that it grows quite a bit because it's out there in the marketplace for you. So if you have any comments, make sure you leave them. See you next time. Bye.